This channel is supported by sumsbrand.com. We love the likes, but the merch helps to keep the content coming. Visit Sums Brand for original art, graphic tees, and more. And use the code SUMS for 10% off. Alright, we're at the desk and I wanted to show you a quick way of how I scan my Polaroids. I've been putting out a lot of Polaroid content lately, and with that comes not only ways to store them, but before that, ways to scan them. Now, Polaroid has an app that you can use, and that's cool, but I like to use a flatbed scanner. I got this scanner not only because I scan Polaroids, but because I scan my film negatives as well. But lately I've been doing a lot more Polaroids. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview of how I do that. I just shot a pack of SX70 film. I got about 8 shots that I want to scan in here, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my scanner and show you a few ways that I get the best scans that I could possibly get out of this scanner right here. I'm using the Epson V600 photo, and the cool thing about this is that you can take your photos out and scan more than one. So typically I just take them out, I make sure my glass is clean and make sure my photo is clean, and I just go ahead and place them out face down. And there's only room on here to do 4 at a time for the way that I'm going to scan them. Now, I used to scan them individually, one by one, because I thought that was the only way to get them perfect. But lately, I've been scanning them in as thumbnails. Now, what you do with that, with this particular scanner, is you place your images face down, make sure that there's plenty of space between the images. And then I go over here and I use the program Epson Scan 2. I do a preview. And the last time I scanned thumbnails, so it's default set to come up as thumbnails. Typically I gotta go through and make sure that they're right side up. Sometimes they come through upside down. So just make sure all of them are the right orientation, the right way. I click all 4 of them. Make sure that my settings are accurate. I have it set to photo mode. I have it set to document source scanner glass, document type reflective, image type 24-bit color. The resolution, since these are 3.5 by 4.25 size images, I typically do 2400 DPI. That allows me enough data to resize this image so that I can enlarge it and print it way larger than the native size. So 2400 DPI, and then I go into Photoshop afterwards and I rescale it. Scanning quality high, I'll go in and I'll make sure that they're scanning image format to TIFF, as tag image file format. And file name, I'll go in and choose a file name and a destination. So I hit scan, it's doing its thing. And it's 4 images on here, so it's going to scan all 4 individually at 2400 DPI resolution. So it's going to take a minute for it to actually scan, but not too long. So we'll wait, we'll see how those come out, see if we have any errors, any dust that we have to clean up. Because after this, I typically take my images into Photoshop and clean up hair, dust, scratches that might have appeared on the scan. And we'll also look for something called Newton's rings. Now, Polaroids are not always perfectly flat. And when you put them face down on a flatbed scanner and light hits it, every point that is touching the flatbed could possibly cause a phenomena called Newton's rings. Now, I typically get these out in Photoshop, but we'll see what happens with these scans. If you know you have something that's pretty much black, like this image right here, I expect to get some Newton's rings in this area, in this dark area. But we'll scan it, we'll find out, and if it happens, we'll get it out in Photoshop. So while this is scanning, let me go ahead and acknowledge the box Chevy tee, available now on sumsbrand.com. My love of cars and photography came together and manifested as this t-shirt, the box Chevy t-shirt. You may have seen this box Chevy in one of my vlogs, but you can also check it out on sumsbrand.com right now. Back to the scans. So checking out the scans, and at first glance, I'm just looking to see if I see any Newton's rings. I do not, but I do see some dust specks and a couple of stray particles that need to be removed. So that'll be noted. But so far we have 4 solid scans. We're gonna go ahead and get the next 4. I'm anticipating getting some Newton's rings. I feel like these 2 are gonna give me Newton's rings. These 2, they might give me some in the plants, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and space them out. I try to keep them in some kind of order. I'm gonna make sure there's something there to press them flat. If this doesn't work, you can always put something else down to help keep it flat. This scanner is cool because you can pop up like that in case you got something larger like a book. So if you have something like, you know, a book or a piece of cardboard or some type of cardstock that's thicker, you can tape your Polaroids to those and place them down here, or just place them down and do like me, scan thumbnails. We'll hit preview. All right, so we scanned it. We have a preview. They're all upside down, so we can go ahead and select them all and rotate them at the same time. Now we have them here. Naming, file naming is right, folders right, resolutions right. Now we scan. As you can see in this preview, when it scans the thumbnail, it leaves a little border around, and it also shows you the shadow that happens underneath the Polaroid, which is cool. If you want to edit the image to show that, you can. I think that's cool. But another way that I also share these images is by making the exact image dimensions the 3.5 by 4.25. Now to do that, I need to add a little bit of border to the edge, and I'll show you how I do that in Photoshop after these scans. But either way is cool. It's up to your preference, to personal preference. If you were putting this in a book with a white page, maybe you want to leave the drop shadow. But if you were posting it, overlapping other photos with it, maybe you crop it your own preference. Maybe you even crop the border off. It's up to you. Now, the reason why I like to use TIFF files is because they're a higher resolution file. It's more data. It's not compressed like a JPEG. It's just a nice uncompressed file with a lot of data in it. It allows you to do more things. Given that these are pretty high-res images, I probably won't see the Newton's rings until I get into Photoshop. But by that point, I'll already be retouching and editing, and they'll be good to go. All right, that's all 8 images scanned. Put them away in my storage box until I get an album for that. Let's head over to Photoshop. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in. All right, so I don't see any, but as soon as you say you don't see any, that's when they pop up, right? So yeah, so no Newton's rings on these. A lot of dust though. My personal advice on scanning your Polaroids is do it as soon as you can, because the longer you wait, the more curvy they can get or warped they can get. So I'm lucky enough to have just shot these, came right home, put them on the scanner. They're pretty fresh, not too many warps. And as you can see with these images, I don't see too many errors that I have to go back and clean up. Outside of the dust and scratches, I don't see any Newton's rings in these first 2 images at least. So hopefully that's a good sign for the rest of the images. But that's my personal advice for you for when you go to scan your images. If you're using a flat bed scanner, try to make sure that the image is as smooth as possible, as flat as possible. That way you don't get any Newton's rings. And you can also dust off your image, dust off the scanner. But if you do get dust or scratches in your scan, you can always bring it into Photoshop and clean it up. So that's the process in a nutshell. I take the shot, get to a scanner as soon as possible. I dust off the scanner, I dust off the image. I make sure it's flat on the flatbed scanner. And then I bring it into the scanning program. You might have a different software, but I use the Epson scan software that came with the actual scanner. From there, I bring it into Photoshop to clean up any dust or scratches, hair, any imperfections, and then I crop to my own preference. So, like I mentioned, you could leave the borders, or you can make it however you feel it needs to be to present. So, thank you for watching. Go and hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up for more videos like this. And if you have any more suggestions for videos that you would like to see from me about Polaroids or film cameras, or just about photography period, let me know. Drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.